Mission 17 brings us to the only Harbor Town mission of any percent. Despite providing Shigi with a highly effective swimming lesson, we don't earn any points from it, requiring us to make the approach undetected to dodge a Ninja 1 ending cutscene. We'll make our way northwest to the boat, fully leveraging easy difficulty to avoid getting spotted along the way. Turn north-northwest and begin a 15-long dash sequence through the narrow street, modulating dashes to stay on the west side. Once past the wall, line up and execute a DRJ across the gap onto the opposite wall. Cancel the landing with an L jump towards the west side exit of the middle area, canceling this landing with a 6 to 7 long dash sequence into the alley to the north. Roll off the path and run north, drawing the sword. Do another 6 to 7 long dash sequence to the pirate, getting rid of him with a slash or dash SK. Turn to the boat and enter with 2 dashes into a DRJ into the northeast corner of the boat. Skip the cutscene and immediately R-jump back out of the boat. Roll east, then get into position on the north side of the gangplank. Upon hearing Shigi skid, roll behind him and crouch slash to conclude the level. Ending times typically fall between mid 33s and low 35s. It's important to keep the initial dash sequence on the west side of the street. This dodges the detection from a spear guard in the alcove to the east, allowing us to pass through quickly and undetected. Hugging the west wall can work, with some glitchy terrain sometimes popping you away from the building. This is typically okay, but avoid dashing into the corner of objects and the wall, as you can become woefully stuck inside of the jank. The objectives of the midsection are to jump the gap from the district entrance, jump over the vision cone of the middle guard below, and quickly get to the harbor. This is done with a DRJ, which is cancelled with an L jump over the guard's vision, which is then cancelled into a dash sequence. The DRJ and subsequent L jump are a strange mix of lenient and precise. Landing the R jump on the opposite wall is critical for the strat, but where you land along the east-west axis is also important to consider. Landing too far west can cause a yellow meter from the guard below, becoming a detection soon after. Too far east and the L jump will land within the guard's vision, also yielding a detection. This is where the leniency comes in. The L jump can be made to work from almost anywhere between those two extremes, effectively creating a sweet spot on the wall that itself is quite flexible. Depending on where the DRJ lands, the L jump can be aimed anywhere between the middle of the stairs and the center of the wall to the north. While it is possible to carry the initial dash sequence all the way to the edge of the platform and directly link it to the DRJ over the gap, it's not recommended in an RTA setting. The precision required to yield a workable angle is challenging. To acquire that angle quickly at the start of the stage cranks up that difficulty further. As such, it's recommended to establish dash vectors for the street and the DRJ separately. Once we roll down to the harbor, we have another set of issues to deal with. The dash sequence here is fairly specific, as once the sequence is started after a running sword draw, it is modulated around the box. This does two important things with the purple guard. It dodges the detection, and it triggers a purple meter, both of which are key. The purple meter prevents him from turning around as he would do in his normal cycle, which would cause him to yellow and ultimately detect us as we wait for Shigi to get out of the boat. Dealing with the pirate quickly can be done with either a slash or a dash SK. The slash SK is more optimal, saving almost a full second overall. The problem is that executing the slash is tricky. The dash intervals usually leave us slightly outside of slash SK range, requiring a small step forward to close the gap. If done imprecisely, either attempting to slash too early or late, a back or right side SK will occur instead. This is quite a bit slower than the non-standard SK methods, but it doesn't kill the run. Opting to dash SK is much less strict. The same wonky interval is present, but an additional early stab cancelled dash deals with it nicely. It's not quite as fast as the slash, but it's a fine and consistent substitute. It would make sense that Shigi was intended to be the difficult part of this level. Since this is a speedrun and we habitually subvert developer intentions, this boss fight is probably the simplest part of the mission. It's been well known since the game's demo that all NPCs, including bosses, cannot swim. This is crucial for a fast Shigi kill. The other key mechanism at play here is Shigi's AI. If he loses sight of you, he'll look around, then begin to pathfind to your location. This pathfinding is, shall we say, less than sophisticated, and can be manipulated to force Shigi to always exit the boat in the same spot. First, we need to get out of Shigi's line of sight as quickly as possible. This is currently the only situation in the game in which it's actually productive to link two R-jumps together. The first R-jump gets into the boat quickly, facing the character towards the dock, and landing on the corner of the fight loading trigger. This is the perfect setup for the second R-jump. Firing it immediately after skipping the cutscene gets us out of the boat, with an eastward roll ensuring Shigi loses sight of us. Shigi's half-assed search for you gives plenty of time to move into position. Remaining crouched as to not get spotted by Shigi, we park it on this plank, making sure not to move any farther up the gangplank until the audio cue is heard. Being on the north side of the gangplank causes Shigi to always pathfind to the south side when exiting the boat. Listening for the skidding stop is an equally consistent audio cue. When this happens, roll behind Shigi and crouch slash southeast as he lands. The crouch slash is by far the quickest method of getting Shigi into the water, providing a huge amount of knockback. The main failure case here is slashing towards the boat or directly south. The angle of the slash is quite lax otherwise, with almost any flavor of southeast trajectory being sufficient to provide Shigi with his swimming lesson. I suppose you're a swim instructor now, so go ahead and slap that one on your resume.